Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. I am so sorry for being so tardy. I thought I would get on here a little bit earlier. My IT director came in a little bit late, and then my children were in here watching basketball, and so I had to make sure and clear everything out and make sure my IT director was here to help me direct while I was starting to go live. I haven't been here for a while again because of everything that's going on in my homeland. Trinidad is going through the COVID-19 right now, and I am very anxious, depressed, worried, concerned about everything that they're going through. We have been through it here in South Florida in the United States of America, and Trinidad thought they had it under control in the very beginning, and they probably did, but then at some point in time it got out of control, and now my family is over there, my friends are over there, and I am worried sick about it. And I know, and I always preach, stop worrying about what you have no control over. So I want to remind you guys to stop worrying about what you have zero control over. I wanted to touch base on a topic that I posted earlier this week about going back to the ex and sleeping with the ex and loving the ex. And it was simply because J-Lo went back with an ex. She went back with Ben. So I posted something about that, and my social media exploded with the comments, and I felt like this was a great topic of conversation. I knew it was before that, but I wanted to kind of feel it out, to see what everybody was thinking. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. I mean, thank you so much. I appreciate your presence here. I always say your gift is your presence. For me, you don't have to give me anything but your time. That is your present to me. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your presence here on this forum. I like to talk about fun stuff. I like to talk about real stuff, relationships, sex, and everything that goes with it. My name is Cheryl Ann Marshall. I go by Red Wine for social media purposes, and I like to talk about stuff that's everyday stuff. So delving right into love and sex and going with the ex and being with the ex and going back to the ex, I want to say that I see no problem with that. I want to say that I see no issue with that. I realized that for J-Lo, a lot of men had a lot of comments about her shifting and swifting to many different men, and not only shifting and swifting to them, but having children with them and marrying them. So she did marry, she did. So I want to say for each and every one of us, because you know what, I don't like raising all of these people of fame and fortune to that high degree, because they're human beings just like us. They are. So what they are going through, we are going through. So why not talk about it from our level? Why not talk about it from our point of view, right? So for me, I want to say that, you know what, going back to the ex is really not that much of a downfall for me. This is someone that you were once with. This is someone that you once gave all of your time to. This is someone that you thought you would spend the rest of your life with. Your ex is someone that knew everything about you. Your ex is someone that you gave everything to, I would think, right? If you're in a relationship, that's what you do. So okay, things didn't work out for probably reasons that were beyond your control, for reasons that you probably don't even want to readdress, because you did enjoy this person so much. So if you feel like if you just broke up with a current relationship and you want to go back to the ex, even if it's just for sex, because remember that Romeo, otherwise known as a penis, is very familiar to your Juliet, otherwise known as the vagina. So that Romeo in that Juliet is something that you are familiar with. It's something that you feel good doing. It's something that gets your juices flowing. It's something that works. So why not go back to the ex? But let's go a bit further, because it looks like if J-Lo went a bit further, and a lot of us might have gone a little bit further, because I've heard of relationships where a couple actually went through a divorce, and then they went their separate ways, did what they had to do, and came back and went towards another marriage. I know more than 3 people that went through that, divorce and remarried. So that ex is really not a bad thing. You know, we think about the ex. I honestly love that song, Thank You Next. Thank You Next. I think it's Ariana Grande that sang it, was it? I love that song because, yes, thank you. Thank you to your ex for teaching you a lot of the things that you did not know, that you went through in that relationship. And okay, moving on to the next, because I feel like if we as a couple cannot grow, cannot get any better, cannot evolve. So I had dinner with a friend of mine actually that is going through a split up with someone, a partner of hers that she's been married to for many, many years. They have grown children. And I remember talking to her about the same things that my husband and I went through way before our almost 30 years together. I mean, hello, I've had 2 separations. You know, ideally it's 3, but 2 really long ones. The first one didn't last more than maybe 4 to 6 weeks. And he did move out. And the second and third lasted almost a year where I moved out. So those separations were critical and instrumental in making us the couple that we are right now. Those separations spoke volumes. I basically expressed to him the things that I needed and wanted out of our relationship, and he expressed to me how he felt about it, because he's a low-key guy. He's very low-key. So his wants and needs, and please, maybe sex and food, that's his wants and needs. Think about it, men. What are their wants and needs? Sex and food. Exceptions, there are exceptions to that, but my husband, that's basically his want and need. Am I missing anything? I don't think I'm missing anything.
Nope, you got it covered.
Right. So I got it covered, basically. It's what he said. So that being said, for us women, it's different. And this is why I always say, you know, the women from Venus and men from Mars, that's the real freaking dude. That's the real freaking deal. Because yes, we are from different planets. And the sooner we are able to recognize that, men and women, is the better we will be able to compromise. The better we will be able to appease and appreciate and love and be attentive to our significant other. Because guess what? As much as we would like to believe that we can't live without men, honestly, I can't live without a man by my side. Yes, I will do it. Yes, you do whatever it is that life requires you to do. But I would rather live with a man by my side. I would rather live with a Romeo that I can decide sticking to my Juliet any and every which way I can, without having to go hunt out there to my ex or to anyone else when I feel like I need to be satisfied pleased. I feel like, I need to have that familiarity. So I think a lot of reasons why people go back to the ex is because of that familiarity. His Romeo is familiar with your Juliet. His mind is familiar with your mind. His heart is familiar with your heart. His spirituality is familiar with your spirituality. A lot of things are familiar. So you tend to go back there because you don't want to go with the unknown, and you don't want to delve into something that you may get yourself into trouble with. I know I don't like sleeping around. I don't like just sticking any Romeo into my Juliet, which is why I normally end up going to the ex. I wanted to open up the phone lines as well because I had a friend of mine that wanted to call me up because she said that she couldn't type fast enough to keep up with the comments. That was so funny, right? So she wanted to call in. So I wanted to open up the phone line for anyone that wanted to call in as well. I'm gonna get you a number if and when that happens tonight. Again, I want to apologize for the delay because I think making people wait is such a disrespect, and I do it all the time, and so it's something that I have to work on. So again, all of you that are now joining, I apologize for being so tardy. I wanted to also go forward to talking to the younger generation about going back to your ex, right? Because I like to get the all generations of it. And someone told me, well, you know what? Sometimes when you get into your relationship that you're currently in, and you feel like you have to get out, it's because you realize that what you had before that was a blessing compared to what is it that you're in now. I mean, you could be easily misled. I mean, not everyone has that ability and that gift, I call it a gift, to be able to realize who is who and decipher between who you can judge and decipher between who judges the wrong word, decipher between who you can trust is the word I meant to say. And I like to not refer to it as a judgment, even though it's a slight judgment. Because you are assessing to some degree as to who is it that you want to keep in your life, and who is it that you want to divulge your innermost secrets to, and who is it that you trust with those. So it is an assessment more than a judgment. I think it is, and I was talking to the younger generation about it, and he said to me, it was someone of a male gender, and he said to me, and I was very impressed with the fact that he thought it through either, because honestly, between you and me, ladies, men and women are different in our thought process, and this is a general statement. There are exceptions. Men and women are different when it comes to our thought process. My husband has accused me of thinking too much many times because my thought process is detailed. It's detailed. And I think for the most part, men's thought process is detailed. They're detailed. It's detailed. There are exceptions, and kudos to the exceptions. And I want to add that, you know what, I've seen the evolving and the growing in my husband, where I see that he's becoming that exception. So kudos to him as well. But I think just to add to that, as we get older, we grow and we evolve and we learn from everything that we've seen and experienced, if it's not through us, but through friends of ours, and we act accordingly. I mean, as we should, right? We act accordingly. I remember at one point in time, my husband telling me that he didn't know how to communicate, and that's how I met him. Guess what? That mother ever communicates now. And you know what? It started with just one thing that just moved on to another thing and another thing and another thing. So it's step by step, guys. It's basically step by step. You guys can all do what is it that you think you cannot do. Once you take that first step, Once you take that first step, effort is everything. I see that phrase A plus for effort all the time, and you know what? A plus for effort. What we start to do step by step can easily become a habit. It can easily become a habit. It's that simple. So going back to the love and sex with the ex, because you know what, I'm getting sidetracked with a bunch of surrounding topics, which is what I go through with my girlfriends. Every time I decide to have a conversation with them, I get tied up with many different side stories. So I feel like if my IT director is trying to remind me of something, the revenge. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, he's telling me that I'm almost at what time? Oh, that I need to, because remember guys, I don't like to stay on here for long, but I feel, honestly, between you and me, social media has told me that I need to do longer lives and more often lives to be able to grow my audience on a personal level, on a professional level, and on a financial level. So because this topic is so dear to my heart, for many reasons, I feel like if I can actually go on and talk a little bit. Yeah. So that being said, someone messaged to me, and I want to read what is it that he messaged to me, because I felt like it was very important, and I felt like it was enlightening and awakening, and I love things that awaken me. I truly love things that awaken me. Is there anybody else? I want to ask, hold on one second guys, excuse me, my IT director, producer, director, everything, in regards to the, I wanted to ask him if there's anybody else that's asking a question here that I need to respond to. So he's gonna look into that and making sure. So excuse my rudeness and my tardiness. Please forgive me. But I want to also read a couple of the comments here that came with that post, right? But before that, I did send out a message to a bunch of my people to let them know that I was going to be live, and I remember someone saying to me something very interesting that I want to read. And I don't like to call anybody's names here because I don't know what their situation is, and I don't want to get them into any trouble. So this is what this person said to me, right? Laughing out loud, because he and I are cool. We can talk about anything without getting like really worked up or upset, you know. Sex with the ex sounds like revenge sex. If you're with someone all for old times' sake, so revenge sex, right? No matter what, whether or not it's old times' sake or not. Mostly perpetrated by women, right? And he laughed. And honestly, I'm not a revenge sex kind of person. But again, I can't speak for other people. But FYI, to anyone that's out there that's seeking, you know, advice from someone who's experienced a lot through life, you know, revenge sex gets you nowhere. I'm sure any one of you who have done that realize it gets you to a physical excitement and satisfaction, revenge sex, but it's pure physical. I'm not a physical kind of dude. I'm not dudette, whatever you want to call me. I'm not. So revenge is not, no. I don't think J-Lo went to Ben for revenge. I think honestly I could kind of relate to J-Lo. I believe that she went to Ben because she felt like she didn't want to pick up with meet a new guy and dip a new Romeo into her Juliet. and she felt like if Ben was maybe unfinished business, guys. Let's not forget, we don't know the details here. Ben was probably unfinished business, and they were so much younger at the time. Ben must have grown, he must have evolved, we only hope. And so has she, so has Jennifer. So why not revisit something that you once gave your all to, something that you once gave everything for, to give it a second chance, because you're thinking that that person must have grown and evolved, and you have also grown and evolved. Why not? Why not? A lot of people talk about the fact that she's been with a lot of men, and the guy, whoever she's with, would not be able to handle that, thinking about the men that she's been with in the process. Really? So does she not go and have a bath every time and washes off her Juliet when she is engaging with sexual intercourse with these guys? So you're holding on to the fact that she had sex with someone else, or maybe more than one person, and that's gonna basically stop you from going in a relationship with someone that could be your love of your life, someone that could be your true happiness. Someone also explained to me that she is a biatch whenever she's doing work on the movie scene, on the ad scene, on the everything else. Okay, she's a biatch, but guess what? That's where you decide that you don't want to deal with this biatch. You know, there are people, as much as she might be a biatch on that work scene for reasons that we can't even begin to account for, she might very well be someone that's good-hearted and just don't know how to handle stress, don't know how to handle that kind of thing. And that sucks for her. That sucks for a lot of people around her. I don't think that means that she's an evil person. I remember working a flight. I worked with American Airlines for many years, and I remember working flights, not just one, where I was the number one agent, meaning I'm the lead agent. And I'm dealing with agents that are basically assisting and supporting me. And I remember when shit was hitting the fan, and I probably had to speak to the other agents in a very stern tone. And I remember feeling horrible about it after my flights and apologizing for it, because I meant no harm. I just wanted to get things done. So maybe that's what she's going through. She wants to get things done at that exceptional level, and that takes you to a person that might not be exceptionally nice or respectful. And I get that you need to learn how to address that and fix it. But guess what? We are only human. We are only human. So that being said, my IT director handed me a comment that someone that I need to address. Thank you so much. Chinlu, all that J-Lo with Ben stuff happened just too quickly after A-Rod. Personal thought. It really did happen quickly. I agree. So are you saying that maybe she was seeing him? Because someone said that. Maybe she was seeing him, or like every now and then going there for like the sex that maybe they had that was better than A-Rod. Going back there every now and then whenever she and A-Rod had a fight or some type of disagreement. So I agree, Chinlu. She really went back really fast. But I have to say that there's a girlfriend of mine that I spoke to earlier today, and she wanted to call into the show today. And she has said to me that the only way she can give her current man is by finding another man. And you know what? Honestly, I don't judge her for that. I don't. At this stage in our life, we don't need to find ourselves. We already know ourselves. Okay? So we kind of know what we're looking for, what we need, what we want, what is going to serve us at what level. So, okay, yes, you take time for yourself, maybe a little bit of time, but you kind of like to know you have a backup plan. One of the first things that my husband said to me is that, you know, J-Lo always had that backup plan, and he has accused me of always having a backup plan. You know what? I believe in a backup plan. I truly believe in a backup plan. Only because I need a shoulder to cry on. I do. And I'm not the type of person that's going to basically be okay with you know, with girls. I like guys. I like hanging out with guys. I do. So can complications develop from going back to the ex? J Lake asks. Ben had a better Romeo. Quite possible, J Lake. And yes, complications can develop from going back to the ex. I mean, yes, it might work in the very beginning, and I think, honestly, I think it has a lot to do with the time span. If you go back to the ex, and you know, and it's way too early because you guys haven't grown and evolved, then that shit might not work out as well as it might, because I know someone that went back to her ex in a short span, and they are now living together happily ever after. But I know people that have gone back to the ex long after, and they are also living together happily ever after. So I talked to my daughter about this, and she said to me that it depends. And you know what? She's very much like me, because I honestly say it depends. Every situation is different. I can make a totally different. I can make a statement now that would basically it would stick with you. It would resonate with you. But you might come up to a different situation much later on in life that this statement that I made will mean absolutely nothing anymore. So Terrence said, preach, I'm preaching. That's what I'm preaching, only because of what I've learned and what I've known. It might not be what is it that you think or agree to, but think about it for a second. Just think about it. Every individual situation is different. J-Lake, my voice. Guys, excuse my voice. Honestly, I could be fighting off COVID, to be quite honest. I could be fighting off a common cold, because what happened to common colds? Ever since COVID came into the picture, common colds no longer exist. Really? WTF, I say to that. So I could be fighting off strep throat, but I've had this for almost a week now. Every now and then my throat would actually hurt, and it's usually late at night or early morning, but then during the day it's no pain whatsoever. So it's crazy. The last time this happened, I was a teenager, and I was going through a bad breakup. It's funny how we're talking about that with the ex and breakups and relationships. I remember going through a bad breakup. It was a long time ago. I mean, and I did get wet in the rain. And one of my clients at Budget Blinds asked me, well, did you get wet in the rain? And I thought to myself, wow, I did. This might be it. I was actually hanging out at a brunch with a few of my very deep girlfriends, like vibes, like I love hanging out with them. And I was sitting in the rain because I refused to sit in the shelter because I was having such a good time. So I should wrap up, is what is it that my director is telling me. I don't know how long I've been here because I've been chatting like a mad woman, but I do want to leave you with a few good fortunes, a few nuggets. I want to leave you with, let's see what I want to leave you with. I want to leave you with a very enlightening quote. I think that's to a lot of us, because you know, we don't always think about these things, but when you see it and you read it, it hits you, right? There's no competition. Respectfully, You can never be me, and I would never want to be you. And you know what? I would never want to be you. And you should never want to be me. Yes, you might learn some things from me and the way I move and the way I act and the way I talk. And granted, and I learn from everybody. I learn from all of you, my viewers, honestly, from the way you talk, the way you move, what you post, what you act. I learn from all of it. So what I'm speaking here is out of the knowledge of what I've learned from all of you and from me and my past experiences. I can't tell you what to do with your life. I can't, but I can tell you what I've learned, and you can decide whether or not what I have said is going to fit into what is it that you should do or say or live. I also posted that I was a cancer survivor, something that I know that I really don't like to talk about, but it was Cancer Survivors Day earlier this week. I also wanted to say thoughts and prayers to a very dear friend of mine who just had surgery. She is also going through cancer. I love her to pieces. We've gotten really close over the past year, and I just want to throw out some thoughts and prayers to her. I want to throw out my thoughts and prayers to Trinidad and any country, any island that's still being compromised and affected by the COVID virus. Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta go. Been here for a very long time, and I want to thank you again for joining me and vibing with me. We talked about love, sex with the ex and everything, and anything else that you think that I might have forgotten to talk about. I'm open to your suggestions. I will be here to talk about it. This episode and every episode is sponsored by Budget Blinds. Thank you so much for joining us. Seek out Budget Blinds in your area for any of your window coverings. I also want to say that even though every different country might be experiencing different aspects and different phases of the COVID, I am very much there with each and every one of you through everything. We've lost too many people, and I feel like if we need to be there for one another. So thank you so much for joining, guys. Hugs and kisses. Ciao for now. Pay attention to the daily little things that are miracles in our life. Pay attention to them. They are miracles every little way, every little step. They are. Love you guys. Love to all of you. Mwah. Hugs.